A very warm good morning. It's just past 8 this 10th December morning and we're back again with Breakfast Show. I'm Anil Thomas. Over the next 1 hour, we'll take you through the major happenings across India and the globe from the field of politics, business and sports. Also a regular segment on health and weather. Our top focus over the day, Lok Sabha passing the Citizenship Amendment Bill by 311 votes in favor in 80 against at midnight. Amit Shah says NRC is coming. Today also marks the 71st anniversary of the signing of the Universal Declaration of Human Rights. The day aims to enlighten us about our rights and are a foundation of the sustainable development and peaceful society. That's not all. Indian contingent continues their gold rush in the 13th South Asian Games in Nepal, while Russia handed a 4-year ban by the World Anti-Doping Agency and are out of the 2020 Tokyo Olympics and the 2022 Football World Cup in Qatar. We'll be getting live inputs from our correspondents in various angles to the top stories. But first up this Tuesday morning, the headlines we are tracking at the top of this hour. Lok Sabha passes the Citizenship Amendment Bill 2019 after marathon debate. 311 voted in favor and 80 against. Prime Minister Modi says the bill is in line with India's centuries-old ethos of assimilation and belief in humanitarian values. Home Minister Amit Shah says the bill is not against the minorities and does not violate constitutional provisions. Further adds that the bill is needed because minorities in Pakistan, Bangladesh and Afghanistan had to constantly live in the fear of extinction. Lashing out at Congress, Home Minister Amit Shah says amendment to the bill is needed because Congress agreed for the partition of India on religious lines. Allies fears in some section of Northeast assures their interests will be taken care of. In Lok Sabha today, the Constitution Amendment Bill 2019 to be debated, extending reservation to SC/ST for the next 10 years in Lok Sabha and state assemblies, while in the Rajya Sabha, the Arms Amendment Bill 2019 listed for consideration and passing. India calls for speedy expansion of the International Solar Alliance to reduce dependence on fossil fuels. Speaking on the sidelines of COP25 in Spain, Union Minister Prakash Javadekar expresses happiness that over 83 countries joined ISA in just 4 years. Human Rights Day is being celebrated today, the day the United Nations General Assembly adopted the Universal Declaration of Human Rights in 1948. President Ramnath Kovind to be the chief guest at the Human Rights Day celebration in New Delhi. In sports, Indian athletes continue their dominance in the 13th South Asian Games in Nepal. India consolidated its top position with 294 medals comprising 159 gold, 91 silver and 44 bronze medals. And now for the stories in detail. The Lok Sabha has passed the Citizenship Amendment Bill 2019. 311 voted in favor, while 80 voted against. Prime Minister Narendra Modi has expressed his delight on the passing of the bill. He said that the bill is in line with India's centuries-old ethos of assimilation and belief in humanitarian values. More in this report.
The Citizenship Amendment Bill 2019 was passed in the Lok Sabha on Monday amid vociferous debate. The bill was introduced after 311 members voted in favor of it. The bill seeks to amend the Citizenship Act 1955 in order to grant Indian nationality to Hindus, Sikhs, Buddhists, Jains, Parsis and Christians following religious persecution in 3 neighboring nations of Pakistan, Bangladesh and Afghanistan. Speaking on the merits of the bill and lashing out at the opposition fear-mongering over the bill, Home Minister Amit Shah contended that the bill does not violate any rights of any community living in India. He said Modi government's only religion is constitution.
मैं माननीय अध्यक्ष जी सभी सदस्यों को इस सदन को और आपके माध्यम से सदन के सदस्यों के माध्यम से पूरे देश की जनता को कहना चाहता हूं कि किसी भी डायमेंशन से ये बिल गैर संवैधानिक नहीं है, ना आर्टिकल 14 का उल्लंघन करता है। आर्टिकल 14 में जो समानता का अधिकार दिया है, उसके तहत मैंने पहले भी कहा कि रीजनेबल क्लासिफिकेशन के आधार पर कानून बनाने से आर्टिकल 14 में कोई रोक नहीं है।
Home Minister offered point-by-point rebuttal, dispelling all objections raised by the opposition. Sending out a clear message, Home Minister Amit Shah stated that the bill is not against the minority and it in no way violates constitutional provisions.
भारत के अंदर 1991 में 84% हिंदू था और 2011 में वो 84% से घटकर 79% हुआ। मान्यवर, 1951 में यहाँ पर मुसलमान 9.8% था, आज 14.23% है। हमने किसी के साथ धर्म के आधार पर भेदभाव नहीं करा और मैं इस सदन को विश्वास दिलाना चाहता हूं, आगे पर भी धर्म के आधार पर भेदभाव नहीं होगा, इसका मैं सदन को विश्वास दिलाना।
Let us try to understand the detailed provisions of Citizenship Amendment Bill. The provisions in the Citizenship Amendment Bill include: Bill aims to amend provisions of Citizenship Act 1955. Amendments to provide legal aid for citizenship. Bill to give citizenship to nationals from 3 neighboring countries. Citizenship for 6 minority communities coming to India from Pakistan, Afghanistan and Bangladesh. Citizenship to Hindus, Sikhs, Buddhists, Jains, Christians and Parsis immigrants. Mandatory period of stay to be eligible for Indian citizenship reduced from 11 years to 6 years. Bill to help those escaping religious persecution in neighboring countries. Citizenship for immigrants coming to India till December 2014. Exemption granted to inner line permit states. Exemption to 6 tribal areas in 4 northeast states. Exemption areas state include Arunachal Pradesh, Nagaland, Mizoram, Meghalaya, Manipur, parts of Assam, Tripura. Lashing out at the Congress, Home Minister said that had the Congress not agreed for the partition of India on religious lines, the need for the bill would not have arisen. Allaying fears of the people of the Northeast, Home Minister assured that there are provisions for some Northeast region under the ambit of the current bill.
इस देश का विभाजन धर्म के आधार पर न होता, अगर ये देश का विभाजन धर्म के आधार पर न होता तो बिल लेकर मुझे आने की जरूरत ही नहीं पड़ती। पूरा अरुणाचल इनर लाइन परमिट से प्रोटेक्टेड है, अरुणाचल को चिंता करने की कोई जरूरत नहीं। पूरा मिजोरम इनर लाइन परमिट से प्रोटेक्टेड है, किसी को चिंता करनी चाहिए। मान्यवर, पूरा नागालैंड इनर लाइन परमिट से दीमापुर के छोटे से हिस्से को बात कर पूरा प्रोटेक्टेड है, पूरे नागालैंड को चिंता करने की जरूरत नहीं। मणिपुर आज प्रोटेक्टेड नहीं है, मगर हम ये बिल तभी नोटिफाइड करेंगे जब मणिपुर को इनर लाइन परमिशन दे दिया जाएगा। त्रिपुरा के अंदर भी त्रिपुरा ट्राइबल एडीसी क्षेत्र में सीए भी लागू नहीं होगा और एक हाई लेवल कमेटी ट्राइबल समुदाय के हितों की रक्षा के लिए जो बनाई थी उसको और विस्तृत कर उनके सारे हितों की चिंता भारतीय जनता पार्टी की नरेंद्र मोदी सरकार करेगी।
While NDA supported the bill in its current form, opposition parties like Congress and TMC called the bill violative of Article 14, which provides for equality before law, and called the bill unconstitutional.
1955 में नागरिकता का कानून बना और उसमें यह बात तय की गई, सुनिश्चित की गई कि नागरिकता के 4 मापदंड होंगे। सबसे पहले जन्म, दूसरा डिसेंट, तीसरा पंजीकरण और चौथा नेचुरलाइजेशन। और उसके बाद 2019 तक उस कानून को 8 बार संशोधित किया गया।
Sir, what you are doing is not fair. This bill is half-hearted, it's not taking care of the entire country. I request you to reconsider, try to be more positive, take positive steps rather than negative steps.
धर्मनिरपेक्षता तो इस देश की मूल भाषा है और हम समझते हैं कि आज ये जो बिल है वो कहीं से भी धर्मनिरपेक्षता के सिद्धांत को प्रभावित नहीं कर रहा है, धर्मनिरपेक्षता के सिद्धांत को कहीं से भी प्रभावित नहीं कर रहा है। तो इसलिए आज इस बिल को भी हम यह कहेंगे कि धर्मनिरपेक्षता की रक्षा के लिए बल्कि इस देश के जो हिंदू, सिख, बुद्धिस्ट, ईसाई, पारसी और जैन जो लोग बंटवारा के पहले थे और पाकिस्तान जाके बस गए थे, आज उनको सम्मान देने का है और ये धर्मनिरपेक्षता के पक्ष में है।
Prime Minister Narendra Modi has expressed delight over the passage of Citizenship Amendment Bill in the Lok Sabha, saying the proposed law is in line with India's century-old ethos of assimilation and belief in humanitarian values. Prime Minister especially applauded Home Minister Amit Shah for lucidly explaining all aspects of the measure. Bureau Report, DD News.
The Arms Amendment Bill 2019 was also passed by Lok Sabha on Monday. It seeks to reduce the number of licensed arms per person and to increase the quantum of penalties for violation of the law. Replying to the discussion on the bill, Home Minister Amit Shah rejected allegations that it is aimed at appropriating the powers of the state. He said firearms is in the union list and the state governments have only limited jurisdiction relating to ammunition. He also listed out the enhancement in the quantum of punishment for illegal manufacture, import or export, possession or buying and selling without permission of firearms. He observed that celebratory firing has become a big menace. He said it has claimed more than 100 lives, adding that a jail term would be handed over to celebratory firing as well. In Rajya Sabha, Union Home Minister Amit Shah will move the Arms Amendment Bill 2019 for consideration and passing. The bill was passed by Lok Sabha on Monday. While in Lok Sabha, Law Minister Ravi Shankar Prasad will move the Constitution 126th Amendment Bill 2019 for consideration and passing. The bill, which was introduced in the lower house on Monday, seeks to extend by 10 years the reservation given to SCs and STs in Lok Sabha and state assemblies. Further, Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman will move the International Financial Services Centres Authority Bill 2019 for consideration and passing. The bill will provide for the establishment of an authority to develop and regulate the financial services market in the international financial centres in India. List of businesses that will be listed today in the lower house. Further discussion on crop loss due to various reasons and its impact on farmers under Rule 193 will also be taken up today. Well, for more on Parliament, Shailendra Mishra, correspondent tracking Parliament for us, joining us from Vijay Chowk this morning. Shailendra, today we've got the BJP parliamentary meeting also taking place in a little while from now. What's on the agenda and what are the important bills? We've listed a number of bills that will be up for consideration and passing today. Any other important things that will be taken up for consideration and passing today in Parliament?
अनिल, जैसा कि आपने जिक्र किया कि जो विधेयक लोकसभा और राज्यसभा में लिस्टेड है, सरकार उस पर आगे बढ़ने की कोशिश करेगी। आर्म्स एक्ट से जो संशोधन से जुड़ा जो विधेयक है जो लोकसभा में पारित हुआ है उसे आज राज्यसभा में पारित कराने की कोशिश की जाएगी। इसके साथ ही साथ संविधान का 126वां संशोधन से जुड़ा जो विधेयक है, अनुसूचित जाति और जनजाति के आरक्षण को लोकसभा और विधानसभा में बढ़ाने से संबंधित लोकसभा में कल पेश हुआ था। सरकार आज उसे पारित कराने की कोशिश करेगी। बीजेपी की संसदीय दल की बैठक है जिसमें जो अब बचे हुए दिन है इस संसद के सत्र के, उसमें क्या रणनीति होगी पार्टी की, उस पर विचार होगा। और जिस तरह से सफलता मिली है नागरिकता संशोधन बिल को लोकसभा में पारित कराने में और तमाम दलों का सहयोग हासिल करने में, उसको लेकर अब राज्यसभा की जो आगे रणनीति है उस पर विचार विमर्श किया जाएगा। किस तरह से एक तरह से रणनीति बनाई गई है। हम जानते हैं कि खबर यह आ रही है कि आज ही सरकार राज्यसभा में नागरिकता संशोधन विधेयक को पेश कर सकती है, इस बात की संभावना है। तो देखना होगा कि क्या इस बात को लेकर एक सहमति बनती है कि राज्यसभा में विधेयक आज ही पेश कर दिया जाए। चूँकि जब कल लोकसभा में ये विधेयक पेश करने के लिए लाया गया था उस वक्त से ही इस तरह की खबरें आ रही थी। चूँकि हम जानते हैं कि विशेष अनुमति के तहत कल ही लोकसभा में विधेयक पेश किया गया, चर्चा कराई गई और पारित भी लोकसभा में नागरिकता संशोधन विधेयक किया गया। आज ये उम्मीद है, इस बात की संभावना है कि राज्यसभा में नागरिकता संशोधन विधेयक लाया जा सकता है। हालांकि जो अभी जो लिस्टेड बिजनेस है उसमें इसका जिक्र नहीं है, लेकिन इस बात से इनकार नहीं किया सकता। इसके साथ ही साथ हम जानते हैं कि अहम अन्य जो विधायी कामकाज है वो संसद के दोनों सदनों में लिस्टेड है। तो निश्चित तौर पर चूंकि संसद के शीतकालीन सत्र का आखिरी हफ्ता है, लिहाजा सरकार जरूर चाहेगी कि जो अहम विधायी एजेंडा है, इसमें हम जानते हैं कि नागरिकता संशोधन विधेयक सबसे अहम है, जो लोकसभा से पारित हो चुका है, जल्द से जल्द राज्यसभा से भी पारित हो, सरकार की कोशिश होगी। उसके साथ ही साथ जो विधेयक कम से कम एक सदन से पारित हो चुके हैं, दूसरे सदन में उन्हें पारित किया जाना है, उनको भी सरकार कोशिश करेगी कि विधायी कामकाज में प्रगति लाई जाए। तो देखना होगा कि क्या रणनीति होगी। बीजेपी संसदीय दल की बैठक के बाद बीजेपी के नेता या और वरिष्ठ मंत्री प्रहलाद जोशी क्या आगे की रणनीति का जिक्र करते हैं, उसका इंतजार करना होगा। जी,
also considering the way the opposition is operated, do you somewhere feel the opposition also seems to be a disunited unit somewhere? You see the Shiv Sena, that's a part of the NCP and Congress in Maharashtra clearly supporting the bill, supporting the government on this particular issue, and also in the JDU, you had Prashant Kishore coming out and slamming his party. There seems to be some kind of no coordination amongst the opposition when it comes to supporting or opposing this particular bill.
अनिल, दरअसल विपक्ष को, कांग्रेस पार्टी को ये उम्मीद थी कि एनडीए के कुछ सहयोगी दलों का एक तरह से समर्थन हासिल किया जा सकेगा विधेयक के विरोध में, लेकिन ऐसा हो नहीं सका। हम जानते हैं कि जेडीयू ने समर्थन किया और एक तरह से शिवसेना जो नाता तोड़ चुकी है, गठबंधन टूट चुका है बीजेपी के साथ। हम जानते हैं कि महाराष्ट्र को लेकर वहां पर सरकार बनाई कांग्रेस एनसीपी के साथ मिलकर, लेकिन जिस तरह से नागरिकता संशोधन विधेयक पर शिवसेना का साथ मिला, तो निश्चित तौर पर जो एक विपक्ष की, कांग्रेस की जो रणनीति थी, जो कोशिश थी, वो कामयाब होती नहीं दिखाई दी। हालांकि जब सदन में विधेयक पेश किया जा रहा था, पेश किए जाने की जो प्रक्रिया हो रही थी, उसमें जिस तरह से आपत्तियां दर्ज की गई और तमाम विपक्षी दलों के सदस्यों ने बिल के कॉम्पिटेंस पर सवाल उठाया और तमाम अहम बातों का सामने रखते हुए आपत्ति दर्ज कराई, उस वक्त ये कोशिश दिखी कि कई विपक्षी दलों को एक साथ लेकर इस नागरिकता संशोधन बिल के विरोध में खड़ा हुआ जाए, लेकिन अंततः जो एक रणनीति थी विपक्षी दलों की, वो कामयाब होती नहीं दिखाई दी। और सत्ता पक्ष की तरफ से आप देखें, बीजेपी ने दरअसल ये कह सकते हैं कि एक सफलता हासिल की। जेडीयू को लेकर जो तमाम एक तरह से अटकलें लगाई जा रही थी कि वो बिल के समर्थन में होगा या नहीं होगा, हम जानते हैं कि जेडीयू ने बिल का समर्थन किया। शिवसेना जो बिल आने से पहले कह रही थी कि दरअसल बिल के प्रावधानों को देखने के बाद वो अंतिम फैसला करेगी, शिवसेना ने भी समर्थन किया। तो ऐसे में निश्चित तौर पर ये कह सकते हैं कि सत्ता पक्ष की जो रणनीति है वो कामयाब रही और विपक्षी एकता जिस तरह से कोशिश की गई थी वो दिखाई नहीं दी लोकसभा में।
Considering that there is a whip that's been issued by the BJP, and we anticipate that the bill will be presented in the upper house, the Citizenship Amendment Bill will be presented today or tomorrow in the upper house. What are the challenges before the government? Considering it's managed to win it hands down in the lower house, in the upper house, is there a stiff challenge by the opposition for the bill to get cleared?
ये देखिए, जहाँ तक सत्ता पक्ष की रणनीति का सवाल है, हम जानते हैं कि लोकसभा में एक बड़ा स्पष्ट बहुमत सरकार के साथ था, लिहाजा लोकसभा को लेकर वैसे भी कोई इस बात को लेकर चिंता नहीं थी। लेकिन जिस तरह से जेडीयू का समर्थन मिला है, शिवसेना का समर्थन मिला है, बीजेडी की तरफ से भी हम जानते हैं कि एक तरह से सकारात्मक रुख है, तो ऐसे में निश्चित तौर पर सरकार की उम्मीदें बढ़ गई हैं। सत्ता पक्ष को लगता है कि राज्यसभा में भी इस विधेयक को पारित कराने में कोई खास दिक्कत नहीं आएगी और इसी रणनीति पर सरकार आगे बढ़ेगी कि न केवल एनडीए के साथियों को एकजुट रखा जाए राज्यसभा में, बल्कि साथ ही साथ एनडीए से इतर भी अगर कुछ दलों का समर्थन या फिर रणनीतिक तौर पर एक समर्थन, या कह सकते हैं कि बिल के विरोध में वो मतदान न करें, तो निश्चित तौर पर राह काफ़ी आसान हो सकती है राज्यसभा में भी। तो निश्चित तौर पर सरकार और सत्ता पक्ष की रणनीति यही होगी कि एनडीए से इतर भी कुछ दलों का सहयोग हासिल किया जाए। हम जानते हैं कि शिवसेना जिसने हाल ही में नाता तोड़ा है महाराष्ट्र में, उसका समर्थन हासिल हुआ है नागरिकता संशोधन बिल को लेकर लोकसभा में। तो ऐसे में निश्चित तौर पर सरकार के लिए एक सुखद संकेत है सत्ता पक्ष के लिए कि राज्यसभा में इस विधेयक की राह आसान हो सकती है।
Okay, we'll leave it there. Thank you and appreciate your joining us this morning with those updates from what to expect in Parliament today. Remember, the Parliament session comes to an end. The winter session of Parliament comes to an end on December 13th. Moving ahead, Union Environment Minister Prakash Javadekar said that there was a need to speed up International Solar Alliance to trap solar energy in a big way. Speaking on the sidelines of COP25 in Madrid, Environment Minister Prakash Javadekar said that 4 years ago in Paris, when Prime Minister Narendra Modi and French President Francois Hollande launched the International Solar Alliance, it was a new beginning. He said the need of the hour is for speedier expansion of the International Solar Alliance to reduce the dependence on fossil fuels. Environment Minister Prakash Javadekar expressed happiness that the phenomenal progress has been made by the alliance, with over 83 countries joining it in just 4 years. He stressed that the need of the hour is to tap solar power in a big way. The ISA expansion is needed to meet the growing energy requirement, even as it acknowledged the phenomenal progress made by the alliance and the growing solar energy capabilities the world over. The Minister of Information and Broadcasting congratulated for the aggregated demand of solar agriculture pumps from various countries, listing out the aggressive manner in which India has expanded its renewable energy mix. The minister pointed out that 5 years ago, India had just 3 gigawatt of solar energy, which is now increased to 33 gigawatts. He added that India is going to achieve the 100 gigawatt of solar energy by 2022, that is in the next 3 years, and it will add 67 gigawatt more of solar energy. He further added that today's India 37% energy capacity is through renewables, and that we must be making efforts to increase the renewable energy capacity.
Solar energy, India committed 175 gigawatt of renewable energy, out of which 100 gigawatt was solar. And I'm happy to report, when Prime Minister made this announcement, India had only 3 gigawatt of solar energy. Today we have 33 gigawatts. And in next 3 years, we'll create that 67 gigawatt also. So to make it 100, and 175 gigawatt will be achieved in time. At the same time, now he has upscaled the target to 450 gigawatts. This is not raising ambition. This is doing good things in more efficiently. And therefore, this is our own way of how India wants to be very serious, because we want to have 40% of our energy capacity mix through renewables.
Environment Minister Prakash Javadekar, while speaking on India's stance on climate change after hosting COP14 in Delhi, said that India has taken a massive lead in climate change in the form of land degradation.
The climate change is a real danger which has to be mitigated by all efforts by every country. And therefore, COP14 was also an effort to build that consensus for land degradation also. India has taken a massive lead, and Prime Minister declared 26 million hectares to be brought under out of degradation and restore it. So that restoration target is very big, and I am very sure that all other countries will also take note of this aspect also.
Human rights is being celebrated today. The day was adopted in 1948 by the United Nations General Assembly as the Universal Declaration of Human Rights. The theme for this year is Youth Standing Up for Human Rights. The United Nations aimed at celebrating the potential of youth as constructive agents of change, amplify their voices, and engage a broad range of global audiences in the promotion and protection of human rights. The UN has planned to capitalize on the current momentum and spotlight the leadership role of youth in collective movements as a source of inspiration for a better future. President Ramnath Kovind will be the chief guest at the Human Rights Day celebration, which will take place in the national capital later today. Moving down south, voters in Karnataka handed a decisive mandate to help stabilize the 4-month-old Bharatiya Janata Party government led by B.S. Yediyurappa as it registered victory in 12 out of total 15 constituencies in the bi-poll elections in Karnataka. Prime Minister Narendra Modi thanked the people of Karnataka for placing their faith in BJP. In a tweet, he congratulated the Chief Minister B.S. Yediyurappa, his team of ministers in the state and party karyakartas for serving the people with utmost diligence. He said Karnataka has voted for development and punished opportunism. Following the defeat, senior Congress leader and former Chief Minister Siddaramaiah resigned as the Congress Legislative Party leader, taking moral responsibility for the party's poor show in the Assembly by-polls. Meanwhile, by-polls were held on Thursday for 15 of the 17 Assembly seats left vacant by MLAs who resigned in July, causing the collapse of the Congress Janata Dal's secular coalition and the BJP's takeover. The BJP had to win at least 7 seats to claim a majority in the Assembly, which has 222 members after the by-polls. Moving to Jharkhand, campaigning for the third phase of Jharkhand Assembly elections will end today. Monday witnessed some high-octane campaigning by Prime Minister Narendra Modi and Congress leader Rahul Gandhi. Urging people to vote the BJP to power for a second successive term, the Prime Minister said that the double-engine growth of Jharkhand became possible because the party was in power both at the centre and in the state, and the Congress had never been able to stand up to the test of a coalition government. While Rahul Gandhi accused the BJP of grabbing land in states where the party was in power, asserting that Jharkhand's Jal, Jungle and Zameen would be returned to its people if the opposition alliance came to power. Polling for the 17 constituencies spread over 8 districts will be held in the third phase on the 12th of this month, while counting for all the 5 phases will be held on the 23rd of December. Well, for more on the story, Abhishek, correspondent tracking the elections for us from Jharkhand, joins us this morning. Abhishek, important phase here, purely looking at 17 seats spread across 8 districts in Jharkhand. What do we expect? Which are the big names or the big tickets that will go for polls in this particular phase on the 12th of this month?
बिल्कुल अनिल, देखिए आज शाम 3 बजे जो है प्रचार प्रसार जो है वो थम जाएगा। अगर यहाँ पे बड़े नामों की हम बात करें कि तीसरे चरण में 17 विधानसभा सीटों पे क्या बड़े नाम है, तो आजसू पार्टी के प्रमुख सुदेश में तो जो है वो सिल्ली से मैदान में है। सिल्ली से वो इस बार चुनाव लड़ रहे हैं, हालांकि वो पिछली बार हार गए थे। इसके अलावा बाबूलाल मरांडी जो जेवीएम झारखंड विकास मोर्चा के सुप्रीमो हैं वो मैदान में है। धनवार गिरिडीह का विधानसभा क्षेत्र है ये, धनवार वहां से मैदान में है। इसके अलावा मनोज कुमार यादव ये बरही से है जहां कल प्रधानमंत्री की रैली हुई थी। मनोज कुमार यादव जो है ये पिछले कई बार विधायक जीत चुके हैं और पहले वो झारखंड मुक्ति मोर्चा और कांग्रेस में होते थे, लेकिन इस बार वो भाजपा की टिकट पर है। इसके अलावा नीरा यादव जो कि कोडरमा से चुनाव लड़ रही है, शिक्षा मंत्री रही हैं वो बीजेपी में, वर्तमान जो सरकार रही है 2014 से 19 के बीच में उसमें शिक्षा मंत्री, तो ऐसे कई बड़े नाम है। इसके अलावा सीपी सिंह है जो कि मंत्री रहे हैं, यहाँ पर कैबिनेट मंत्री झारखंड के अंदर रहे, तो कई बड़े नाम है जो इस चरण में भी है। और जहां तक हम मतदान की बात करें तो 12 दिसंबर को जो मतदान होने जा रहा है, तो आपने पहले और दूसरे चरण में देखा होगा कि सुबह 7 बजे से लेकर 3 बजे तक का समय होता था, लेकिन ये इस तीसरे चरण में जो है 5 विधानसभा सीटें ऐसी हैं जहां पर कि मतदान सुबह 7 बजे से लेकर के 5 बजे तक होगा। रांची है, हटिया है, कांके, रामगढ़ और बरकट्टा जो हजारीबाग का एक विधानसभा क्षेत्र, ये 5 इलाकों में 2 घंटे का अतिरिक्त समय दिया गया है मतदाताओं को, क्योंकि ये इलाके जो है शहरी इलाके और थोड़े बड़े इलाके हैं। ऐसे में यहाँ जो मतदान की प्रक्रिया है वो 2 घंटे ज़्यादा तक रहेगी। बाद बाकी की जो इसके अलावा जो 12 सीटें हैं वहाँ पर जो मतदान है वो सुबह 7 बजे से 3 बजे तक होगा। अनिल,
well, we'll leave it there. Thank you and appreciate you joining us this morning with those updates there on the poll-bound state of Jharkhand, where 17 seats go to polls on the 12th of this month. Moving ahead, the Supreme Court agreed for urgent hearing to a PIL seeking an SIT probe into the killing of 4 men arrested on charge of gang rape and murder of a veterinarian in Telangana. The petition was moved in the Supreme Court, questioning the legality of the Hyderabad police. In other news, taking serious note of the crime against women, Uttar Pradesh Cabinet has cleared a proposal to set up 218 fast-track courts for hearing cases pertaining to crime against children and rapes. The matter will come up for hearing on Wednesday. The 4 accused were killed in an alleged police encounter. The bench, headed by Chief Justice S.A. Bobde, took note of the submissions made by lawyer G.S. Mani seeking an independent investigation against the police officials concerned. Meanwhile, Uttar Pradesh Cabinet has cleared a proposal to set up 218 fast-track courts for hearing cases pertaining to crime against children and rapes. 144 courts will hear the cases of rape, while 74 courts will hear cases in which POXCO Act has been slapped. UP Law Minister Brijesh Pathak told reporters that Chief Minister Yogi Adityanath was concerned about the crimes against women.
उत्तर प्रदेश सरकार ने वर्तमान परिस्थिति को बहुत गंभीरता से लिया और हमने तय किया है कि हम 218 नए फास्ट ट्रैक कोर्ट खोलेंगे। उसमें 144 कोर्ट हम जो महिलाओं के प्रति अपराध है, जो रेप के जैसे गंभीर मामले, केवल वो सुने जाएंगे। और इसमें हमने अपर सत्र न्यायाधीश स्तर के अधिकारी की नियुक्ति के भी आदेश दिए हैं, पद सृजित कर दिए हैं। उनके सहयोगी स्टाफ के भी पद सृजित कर दिए हैं। हमारे पास जो भी इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर है और जो मैक्सिमम हम कर सकते हैं, हम महिलाओं के साथ हैं, अपनी बहनों के साथ खड़े हैं। हम चाहते हैं कि महिलाओं को शीघ्र न्याय मिले।
Pradhan Mantri Awas Yojana, which aims to provide affordable houses to everyone, has benefited Chand Rashid, residing in a small village of Maharashtra's Washim district. His family is happy and thankful to Prime Minister for the permanent house he's managed to get. Let's take a look at this ground report.
Residing in a small village in Washim district of Maharashtra, Chand Rashid, a labourer by profession, could not afford to buy his own home. He got to know through the local Gram Panchayat that he has been allotted a home under Pradhan Mantri Awas Yojana. Chand submitted all the required documents and immediately obtained permission to start construction work. Soon after obtaining the first installment, he started construction work. Today, Chand and his family have their own home and they are thankful to Prime Minister Narendra Modi for the help.
I am a labourer and my family depends on me. I am the sole earner and the responsibility of my entire family is on my shoulders. Thanks to the Pradhan Mantri Awas Yojana, my dream of having my own house has come true. I'm really grateful to the central government for this scheme and for providing me help to build my own house.
मिला तो ये कुछ उनका कुछ अपना सहारा देके, नहीं तो ये घर बनना होता नहीं था। ये बहुत बड़ा अच्छा होगा ये घर को लाया तो।
Realizing the dream of lakhs of people who have been toiling hard for years in a dream to have a house of their own, Pradhan Mantri Awas Yojana is proving a blessing to fulfill their dream of owning a home of their own. Bureau Report, DD News.
Moving to international stories, New Zealand police have confirmed that 5 people have died and 8 are missing after White Island volcano erupted on Monday as tourists visited. 34 people survived, with 31 still receiving treatment in a hospital. The eruption spewed a plume of ash 1,000 meters high in the sky. Volcanologists said that the ash plume shot 12,000 feet into the air. Australian Prime Minister Scott Morrison said that 3 Australians are feared to be among the confirmed fatalities from the New Zealand volcanic eruption. White Island is about 50 kilometers from the east coast of North Island and huge plumes were visible from the mainland. Moving to Lebanon, where anti-government protesters clashed on Monday with soldiers and pro-government demonstrators in front of a politician's house in Tripoli. Protesters angry at the political establishment gathered in front of the house of lawmaker Faisal Karami, where they faced off with a group of his supporters. Army and security forces fired tear gas to disperse the protesters. The clashes come as a tentative deal on a new prime minister unravel, leaving the country rudderless as it grapples with the worst economic crisis since the 1975-90 civil war. 6 weeks since Saad al-Hariri resigned as prime minister, prompted by protests against the ruling elite, the financial crisis is generating concerns for Lebanon's stability. Moving to Ukraine, where Ukraine and Russia have agreed to implement a full and comprehensive ceasefire in eastern Ukraine by the end of 2019 after top-level talks. Russian President Vladimir Putin and Ukraine's President Volodymyr Zelensky met face-to-face in Paris on Monday. Both sides have also agreed to release an exchange of all conflict-related detainees by the end of the year. They pledged to disengage military forces in 3 additional regions in Ukraine by the end of March 2020. Additional talks will be held in 4 months to take stock of the ceasefire's progress. But Russia and Ukraine continue to disagree on issues such as the withdrawal of Russia-backed troops and elections in areas of Ukraine held by separatist rebels. 5.5 years of fighting between Ukrainian government forces and Russia-backed rebels have cost 13,000 lives. Heads of state around the world grappling with protests could face further citizen anger if they cannot re-engage with unhappy populations. Administrator of the United Nations Development Programme, Adam Steiner, said demonstrations in Latin America and elsewhere are connected to impatience with leaders who need to address the inequalities of the 21st century. He also called for a 21st century economical model that encompasses more equitable development and growth. The UNDP report shows that while the gap in basic living standards has narrowed, countries with low development are struggling with a new generation of inequalities, with the proportion of adults in very highly populated countries entering tertiary education growing 6 times faster than in low developed countries. Well, time now to get you the latest in the world of finance and business. My colleague Achal joins us.
Well, thank you very much, Aril. And today is the second trading day session. That's Tuesday. Let's have a look at those news which are making headlines in the world of business. First, we are going to talk about onions. As part of efforts to check hoarding and boost domestic supply of kitchen staples, Centre on Monday further reduced the stock holding limit for onions to 2 tons from 5 tons for retail traders. Consumer Affairs Ministry directed the state governments to undertake anti-hoarding operations with immediate effect on retail traders. Last week, the ministry had reduced the stock holding limit for retailers to 5 tons from 10, while that on wholesalers was to 25 from 50 tons. Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman said the government will look at setting up a high-level committee to monitor use of long-term irrigation fund. The long-term irrigation fund was instituted under NABARD in 2016-17 under the Pradhan Mantri Krishi Sinchai Yojana Accelerated Irrigation Benefits Program. The funds which have been allotted and the projects which have been benefited from it under the long-term irrigation fund will be better served if there will be a high-level committee to monitor it, Sitharaman told Lok Sabha yesterday. And news from Walmart. US retail major Walmart would open 25 institute hubs in India in next 5 years, which would train 50,000 entrepreneurs from the micro, small and medium enterprises sector. The company would create Walmart Vriddhi Supply Development Program to prepare Indian small businesses to enter global supply chains. Walmart Vriddhi will actively work with India's MSMEs to expand domestic capabilities and participate in the global economy. The institutes will be opened over the next 5 years on pan-India locations convenient for MSMEs from a wide variety of industries and product categories. Well, that's all we have in this edition of Finance World. Back to Anil for more other news updates.
Thank you, Achal. Time now to shift focus to some action from the world of sports, where Russia have been handed a 4-year ban from all major sporting events by the World Anti-Doping Agency. It means the Russian flag and anthem will not be allowed at events such as the Tokyo 2020 Olympics and the football's 2022 World Cup in Qatar. But athletes who can prove they are untainted by the doping scandal will be able to compete under a neutral flag. WADA's executive committee made the unanimous decision in a meeting in Lausanne in Switzerland on Monday evening.
Global anti-doping leaders agreed unanimously on Monday to banish Russia from international sports, including next summer's Olympic Games in Tokyo, for 4 years, the latest and severest punishment yet connected to a years-long cheating scheme that has devastated global sport. It comes after Russia's anti-doping agency was declared non-compliant for manipulating laboratory data handed over to investigators in January 2019.
The consequences include the banning of Russia from the Olympics, Paralympics and World Championships run by all code signatories for 4 years, and the banning of Russia hosting any of these major events within that time frame.
A total of 168 Russian athletes competed under a neutral flag at the 2018 Winter Olympics in Pyeongchang, after the country was banned following the 2014 Games, which Russia itself hosted in Sochi. Russian athletes won 33 medals in Sochi, 13 of which were gold. Russia has been banned from competing as a nation in athletics since 2015. Despite the ban, Russia will be able to compete in Euro 2020, in which St. Petersburg will be a host city, as European football's governing body UEFA is not defined as a major event organization with regard to rulings on anti-doping breaches.
This is a ban against Russia that protects the rights of Russian athletes by allowing re-entry for major events to those that are able to demonstrate that they are not implicated in any way by the non-compliance. The decision is designed to punish the guilty parties and send the message that it will not be tolerated. It stands strong against those who cheated the system while protecting those who did not.
Monday's decision is almost certain to be contested by Russia, which, even after several independent investigations that have revealed a welter of evidence against it, continues to steadfastly deny many of the allegations. Russian officials have 21 days to lodge an appeal with the Swiss-based Court of Arbitration for Sport. If unsuccessful, its ouster will stretch to events well beyond the Olympics, including soccer's World Cup. Sports Desk, DD News.
Well, continuing domination, Indian sports powerhouse of South Asia has stood on top of the medals tally as the game marches towards its end to the 13th edition of the South Asian Games, which was hosted in Kathmandu, Pokhara and Janakpur in Nepal. India by Monday evening had clinched 294 medals that comprised of 159 gold, 91 silver and 44 bronze medals. Host nation Nepal has been trailing behind India with 49 gold, 53 silver and 87 bronze medals. In the ongoing sporting events, India has been superb. Let's take a look at this report. Indian athletes continue to dominate in most of the events at the 13th South Asian Games in Nepal. On the second last day of the Games, India consolidated its top position with 294 medals comprising 159 gold, 91 silver and 44 bronze. In Kabaddi, Indian men's and women's team grabbed the gold medal. In the women's final, India crushed Nepal by 50 to 13 points, while the men's team defeated Sri Lanka by 51-18 in Kathmandu. Indian basketball team also won the gold each in the 3x3 men's into women's event. Likewise, Indian boxers clinched 6 gold and 2 silver medals. Indian swimmers kept their winning streak and clinched 5 gold, 4 silver and 1 bronze on the last day of competitions. Indian swimmers dominated throughout the games and grabbed 50 medals comprising 27 gold, 18 silver and 5 bronze. In the final competition of shooting, Anurag Singh and Shravan Kumar won the gold in the 10-meter air pistol mixed event. India grabbed 18 gold out of the 20 in shooting events. Of the 60 medals at stake in various events, Indian shooters bagged 29 that included 18 gold, 7 silver and 4 bronze medals. In tennis, the Indian team made a clean sweep by winning the men's and women's singles titles. India won gold and silver in both the events as the finals were played between the Indian players. Meanwhile, preparations for the closing ceremony of the 10-day sporting extravaganza has been completed. The closing ceremony will be held at the Dashratha Rangashala in Kathmandu on Tuesday evening. Deputy Prime Minister of Nepal, Ishwar Pokhriyal, will be the chief guest. With Bureau Inputs, Rajkumar's report, DD News, Kathmandu. Well, time now to take a look at the top stories published in the national dailies in the national capital. First up is the Times of India, where the Supreme Court has lifted construction ban in NCR, allowing it during the day hours. No building activity from 6 p.m. to 6 a.m., but it is allowed it during the day. The decision will help dozens of government and private projects to restart and restore employment to hundreds of casual workers. What's the reason for that? The Delhi's average AQI is improving gradually, and Yesterday's recording of AQI was 343, and Delhi NCR is likely to see rains on Thursday and Friday. So the day temperatures will fall, and the Supreme Court lifting that construction ban in and around NCR. Our next look is at the Hindu on the bottom of the front page. India up 1 rank in the UN Development Index. India is ranking 129 out of the 189 countries on the 2019 Human Development Index here. It is moved up 1 position there to the 130th position. It was 130th last in 2017. It's moved to 129 this year. Norway, Switzerland and Ireland occupying the top 3 positions in that order. Among India's neighbors, Sri Lanka and China are higher up in rank scale, while Bhutan is 134, Bangladesh 135, Myanmar 145, Nepal, Pakistan and Afghanistan rank lower on the list. According to this report, what's interesting is that South Asia is the fastest growing region in human development progress, witnessing a 46% growth over the time period from 1990 to 2018. India's HDI's value has increased by 50% during that particular same period. Our final look is at the statesman, where the Prime Minister, Finland has got a new Prime Minister at the age of 34. Finland's Sanna Marin has made history. Finland's coalition government will be composed of 5 parties, all led by women, for the first time after a female transport minister won a vote to be the next leader. So interesting times, and all the leaders, 4 of whom are under the age of 35, and Sanna Marin going to be the Prime Minister of Finland at the age of 34 and making history. Well, after a look at the national dailies, it's time now to take a jog down memory lane, taking a look at what took place on this very day in history.
In 1878, Bharat Ratna C. Rajagopalachari, the first Governor General of independent India and founder of the Swatantra Party, was born in Thorapalli village in Madras Presidency. On this day in 1932, the Indian Military Academy was formally inaugurated by Field Marshal Philip W. Chotwode. On the same day in 1896, Alfred Nobel passed away at San Remo in Italy. He invented dynamite and founded the Nobel Prize. In 1901, first Nobel Prize was awarded in Sweden 5 years after the death of Swedish chemist and inventor Alfred Nobel. On this day in 1948, the United Nations General Assembly adopted its Universal Declaration of Human Rights.
Well, time now to take a look at the events listed for today.
Vice President M. Venkaiah Naidu to present the Lokmat Parliamentary Award to MPs at Dr. Ambedkar International Centre, New Delhi. The first ever joint tri-service exercise between India and Russia, codenamed Indra 2019, to be conducted. Company-sized mechanized contingents, fighter and transport aircrafts, as well as ships of respective armies, air forces and navies will participate in this 10-day exercise. The Supreme Court will hear a batch of petitions challenging the abrogation of Article 370 by the centre and the reorganization of former state of Jammu and Kashmir into 2 union territories.
Well, now on to our health segment. Cold weather can put your health at risk, especially if you have a heart condition. Your heart has to work extra hard to maintain a healthy blood pressure, healthy body temperature, and winter wind can make this even more difficult as it causes the body to lose heat more quickly. But there are things you can do to stay warm and healthy. Take a look at this report.
Winters have arrived and every season brings with itself seasonal flu and diseases. But there are also effects of changing weather on our internal organs, and the most important being the heart. It is often said that as temperatures fall, risk of heart ailments start to climb. A number of people suffer from blood pressure, and there are important precautions to be taken by them during this season.
As the winter sets in, your blood pressure medications requirement will increase, because with winter your sweating becomes less, you are losing less of salt, so more salt stays in the body, more liquid stays or more volume stays in the body, and the blood pressure goes up. So your requirement of medicines will be increasing in winter season.
Doctors advise that it is equally important for youngsters to also keep a check on their heart despite of not having any heart related ailment.
Whatever precautions an elderly person is supposed to take, youngsters are also supposed to take those precautions, especially if some family member has got a heart attack. And if a family member has got a heart attack at a younger age, say the father has got a heart attack at the age of 40s, mid-40s, and the son is at the age of 20, then he should start taking precaution at the age of 20. In fact, the doctor should not treat younger patients, especially if they have any family history, then they should be very, very careful. Careful about what? They should be careful about their numbers. They should look at their weight, blood pressure, blood sugar, and the lipids.
Visiting a doctor on symptoms like short breath, giddiness, weakness and fast heart rate is also important for people with heart ailments. Given the heart's never-ending workload, it is extremely important to understand the signals that it gives to keep it healthy. Bureau Report, DD News.
Well, we've heard of many philanthropists who give away much of their wealth and fortune to create a more equitable world. But it is rare when young people give up everything to begin a life of service for those less fortunate. Our story today is about a young man in Hyderabad who spends his time and money feeding orphaned and street children.
Youth is a time to fulfill dreams, a time for the ambitious to face the world of competition. Very few people actually think of social service while being upwardly mobile and also having youth on their side. But young Khwaja Moidin of Hyderabad gave up a well-paid corporate job where he was earning lakhs of rupees to do social service. Khwaja Moidin has an MBA degree and despite his good job, didn't find the satisfaction he desired. He found this satisfaction when he started a feeding program for hungry and orphaned children. He found spiritual satisfaction. He would go to work every day wondering what good his work was doing for society. When he started feeding hungry children, his life found new meaning. Later, his friends Srinath Reddy and Bhagat also joined in. The three friends run a YouTube channel called Nawab's Kitchen for All Orphans. Their stories of service are motivating people.
एक इरादा करे थे कि तीनों फ्रेंड्स श्रीनाथ रेड्डी, भगत और मैं जी हम लोग सोचे थे कि एक ऐसा काम शुरू करेंगे, ऐसा सर्विस करेंगे ताकि जो रिक्वायरमेंट जिसको है उन बच्चों तक पहुंच जाएंगे.
The three friends set out every day with big pots of food that they feed poor street children with. They feed orphans in orphanages of Hyderabad. Whatever income they get from their YouTube channel is channelized towards their feeding program. But their real income comes from the smiles on the faces of the little children they feed every day.
भैया लोग आ रहे हैं, हम लोग को बहुत अच्छा लग रहा है. वीकली में एक बार तो कंफर्म आते हैं.
बहुत डिशेस ला के देते, केक, चिकन, मटन, फिश, डबल का मीठा और सब ला के डालते.
People are career-driven and work really hard for a livelihood. But this story tells us of a different drive. Quitting one's corporate job to feed the hungry is truly an amazing act of true humanity in our otherwise dark society. Good News India, DD News.
A Santa Claus chef for orphan children. Well, time now to take a look at the weather in your city. Well, before we end this edition of Breakfast Show, we leave you with a positive thought to kickstart your day. Seek respect, not attention. It lasts longer. Our image of the day, musical water floating fountain at the Upper Lake in Bhopal. Stay safe, stay healthy, have a safe and wonderful day ahead. Bye-bye.